Okay, seeing the game is good. Seeing the game is what we want. I would like to move the window so I could see chat, though. That would be nice. That would be pretty pog. It'll go a little funky for a second while I try to push things around. I am in stream mode, so you won't hear anything for the minute. Okay, so I'm afraid you'll hear both. So I'm gonna mute I'm gonna mute the game audio and just have it from my mic because I still need to hear. Good morning, Nin. TLDR, Muzdash is behaving very strangely. It's behaving very strangely with my, with OBS. I also don't want to, like, deafen myself. So, y'all may have to just deal with the fact that this is a tolerable level for me to listen to. Unfortunately, I can't play the one level I really like the most. And for some reason, it's also starting me at level 1 for some unknown reason, because it's not syncing again. This is just going to be a really kind of casual, a really just sort of casual chill stream. Because I fancy playing Muzdash, but I don't fancy, like, tryharding. Unless my keybinds are also not working. Which does seem to be the case, admittedly. Let's see. Controls. Yes. They are not the binds I am looking for. How does one reset your keybinds? Normally I just get a question mark. I do want my fever off. I would like it to trigger manually. Can you give me the option to customize buttons? There we go. We will go with that and that. People are going to think my keybinds are very strange. That's because they are. Because I do have a tendency, because A, I'm on my laptop, and B, I mean, I'm just using the buttons that are not regularly used. Welcome in! Welcome in, Ender. Yes, I know, Rainbow, I know. I literally just used the least used keys on my keyboard. Because then they have the least wear and tear on it. Because you need to remember, this laptop is pre-owned. You know? So I use literally the least used buttons on my keyboard. Good morning, Kasai! Yeah, no, I saw nothing. I don't know what you're talking about, TK. I have no idea. Um, so if I do miss things in chat, forgive me. Like I said, this is going to be a pretty chill, relaxy kind of Saturday stream. We can blame just so you know, we won't have the full selection of music, just what we have at the minute, because this is on streaming mode, so I don't get copyright donked, because being dink donked is not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. So we just won't be contending with any of that stuff. So because my levels clearly didn't sync across my main file in Steam, we are having to start from the beginning. But I like Muse Dash because it doesn't have a lot of the flashes that things like Geometry Dash does. And no flashies means no seizures, so I could go back to playing rhythm games that I don't have to worry about being randomly blinded at any stage, which is pretty pog, honestly. I've only been playing this for about maybe like a day or two. Well, a few days now. So I am by no means good at the game yet or anything like that. Have you watched any of Geometry Dash for like some of the stuff that Exile plays? That is nothing but flashes. This is definitely not as bad as Geometry Dash by any stretch of the imagination. There is no strobing. You know? Yeah, for sure. A lot of the basic Geometry Dash levels are fine because there's no, like, strobing and stuff. Oh my Lanta. PJ subbed for 8 months. Holy moly. Good to hear you're Spider-Manning, Ender. Kazai, thank you for the hydrate. TK with the 6 months. Holy moly. Holy moly. Y'all are wild. But yeah, like I was saying, this does not have the same effect on me as Geometry Dash, so I don't even get the movies, as I like to describe them, like when you look away from the screen for a bit and everything goes all floaty. I don't even get that. As for not being able to hang out for a long time, PJ, do not worry about it. you go and take care of whatever you have to do. I think it's because with this, all I'm really focusing on is the 2 dots and the characters, and none of them have strobes or change their colors distinctly. You know what I mean? Well, I think with Geometry Dash, you literally have to pay attention to so much that's happening. And you don't necessarily have to do the same here. So yeah, I hope you're all in the mood for just something chill. Ooh, I shall... I have not gotten to that stage yet on my main file either. But I look forward to getting to that point, PJ. Ah, okay. I misread it. It is hard to do both. The concept of anybody beating you at video games, Rainbow, is a little hard to believe. Honestly. This is how you know I'm not cheating, PJ. Gotta hear those clickies. But yeah, for whatever reason, this just, I don't know, just doesn't hit my brain as hard. And I am all about things not hitting my brain hard. Actually, that does remind me. What exactly... What way is my... I was like, what way is my activity feed going? For some reason, I thought it was going upside down for a second. And I was very confused. No. You can't play anything that will dink donk us. We are anti-dink donk today. It was funny, I was setting up earlier and I was wondering why all my where all my OBS settings were gone and my overlays and everything, and I was like, oh no, I really don't want to have to reset everything. And then I realised I was on Mac instead of Windows, and I was like, aha, there be the problem. I need to remember to actually hit the hammers and not dodge them. My instinct is to just dodge them. $69,000! Let's go! Thanks, PJ. You mind yourself today, okay? Appreciate you as always. Wouldn't I need to reset my clock or something for the tutorial? Well, I figured. And I could not be arsed resetting my system time. So you're just going to have to remind me on April Fool's Day. Oh, Rainbow, are you busy? Could you do me a favor, please, and make me a Nightbot command for my new merch? Because I keep forgetting to talk about it. And that it's down below for people who want to have a look at any poggy designs that I have made over the last while. As the store is live again. Hi Suki, welcome on in. How are you doing today, my love? Boats? Please? One can just be, hey, I've merch now. You can go and have a look. in the panel below or at URL. For the timer maybe, and then for the command. Oh no. Has it just been one of those days, Suki? Oh no, I'm sorry, Suki. Is the store itself link, like the panel itself? Is it broken? Let me just have well, that is very clearly doesn't exist. But there should be like a carousel-y thingy. Well, we all love you, Suki, so while we can't dink-donk anybody for you IRL, we can at least dink-donk you into feeling better? Does that make sense? I'm not sure if that makes sense. The panel works for me. For me, Rainbow. I get the carousel-y thing. It does work for me and does not seem broken. Or do you mean the actual image that says merch? Probably you mean that. Okay, I've reset it anyway. But they do seem like they do be working. And there's the correct link either way. Okay, let's try for a better score. I love when my own spelling dink-donks me sometimes. that reminds me of a story from when I was in like primary school. We had one sheet to do of homework. And as you can imagine, my dyslexic ass did not write sheet. It wrote shite. So I wrote one shite of homework. I agree. Dink Dunkin' Corporations is pretty pog. One day we will take over the world, Suki. Thanks for doing the Nightbot stuff, Rainbow. Yeah, no, honestly. my dyslexic ass can't cope with spelling 99.9% of the time. So, honestly, the fact that you even got close is amazing. What can I say? Great minds think alike and all that. That does remind me of something real quick. My bank is stupid. Okay, no ding donkey music for us. Well, that's good that you were able to kind of rectify it quickly then, Zook. See you at around lunchtime, Suki. And hang in there, you're doing great. You're doing great too, Misty. But I'm afraid that rhythm games do not permit a lot of petting. Hi. Yes, hello. Hi. Good girl. Well, there goes my ability to get a 90 combo. Hi. Yeah. Here. Somebody redeemed pets. I don't know who, but somebody redeemed pets. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good girl. Good girl. Do you think I could still reach the keyboard? Do you think that's possible? Or do I have to try and play one-handed? I'm sure there is a setting somewhere for one-handed play. I guess we can try one-handed. While you are being determined to be a dink-donk. Okay, we are currently playing Puppy Present, where Misty insists that I pet her while I play rhythm games. Did I accidentally bind this to something else? I might have done, actually. Now, what's my... left bang to? Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure everybody heard that too. Misty, I could really do with you, like, not leaning on the laptop. Like, is that a thing that we could arrange? You know, is that something that we could arrange? Good girl, Missy. She does not understand why she's only being kept with one hand, you guys. Like, she really doesn't. Let's see who we've unlocked. Alright, Boro, come on out. Okay. Bruh. Doing this one-handed is not as easy as you think it is. I need to like move my keybinds, I think. Nope. Can't use that either. Can't use that either. Okay. Well, since a lot of the songs that I like are locked for now, I think I might just call it there. Because there's no point in me just dragging myself through songs that I only kind of partially like. Especially when there's nothing else to really play at this stage that I can stream at the same time. So it might be worth streaming when I have more songs open, and therefore we'll have more variety to stream than currently grinding only like 4 or 5 songs, because that's not much fun. So I think that's what I'm gonna do offline and get myself up back to where I was level wise, so that we just have more options to chill out to later. So I appreciate you all hanging out and chilling out with me for an hour and a bit. I appreciate it. And I will talk to you all really soon.